The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Welcome to Unzipped. We're your hosts, Shanae Grimes-Beach
and Anna Lynn McCord.
After years spent playing best friends on screen
and fighting like hell behind the scenes,
we made it out of our time in young Hollywood, bonded for life, but not without a shit ton of baggage in tow.
Now we're back, bitches. Older, wiser, and more outspoken than ever.
Sit back, relax, and get your earmuffs ready because it is time to unzip.
Hey guys, this is our podcast, Unzipped. I'm Anna Lynn McCord.
And I'm Shanae Grimes-Beach.
And today we have the amazing, the fabulous, the fantastic Shanae.
Justin Anderson.
Justin Anderson.
Justin Anderson. I'm so excited about this. I was so excited to talk to Justin because I really am a fangirl. I feel like Justin is the gay best friend that we've all come to know and love on Very Cavallari. He's Kristen Cavallari's bestie, got nearly 500,000 followers. He's become a celebrity in his own right. And I'm so happy that his personality is shining because it's so big and so bold and almost as beautiful as his blonde hair. I have to say, his locks, his locks and his personality are really just neck and neck because they're both so beautiful.
And he's also like, he's endearing, he's funny, he's your gay best friend now for sure, especially if you listen to our episode. But he's also really a beautiful soul. Like he's really deep and he's had quite a crazy life and intense story that he shares with us. And I personally, you know me, the bleeding heart, I love that shit.
Yeah, we went from talking a lot of tea about some recent drama in the tabloids to getting real deep on some family backstory and all that kind of stuff. So we hope you guys enjoy our little chat with Justin.
Hi! Oh, this is so exciting. And hi, Anna. How are you?
I'm so excited.
Oh my God, could you be more cool?
Isn't he just your hair? Obviously your hair, but your hair is so wonderful. I just want to put my hands in it. There are two things that I need to say before we get into anything remotely serious or like life interesting stuff. First of all, when we had you on this breakdown, she comes at me today and she goes, I tried to find out all this stuff about the basketball player, but there really wasn't a lot of stuff. And I was like, what basketball player are we interviewing? She's like, Justin Anderson. I was like, no. So she did research on some random ass basketball player.
I did not think we had you. So I thought we had this like sweet little basketball player.
Justin's a big deal and he agreed to do this, okay?
That is so good. I mean, when I found out that there was like this like hot basketball player with my exact same name, and which, by the way, I mean, like, he's a massive deal. So it's like I've had to compete with that forever. So that's the first time someone's made that mistake. So I love it.
Oh, okay, good. Well, all I know is that he's a lot less interesting than you are. So I'm very happy it's you. Because I did not know what the fuck to talk about. I was like, I hope this is going to be a podcast.
I was like, what in your right fucking mind makes you think?
Well,
I was like, oh yeah.
God, I mean, Shanae, like, you know, we don't talk all the time, but fuck, we've gotten far apart. Like, I don't know, she's into basketball players.
Oh my God.
Make sense at all.
And then the other thing is that I moved to Franklin, Tennessee, like 6 months ago. And I have like texted what I hope is your old number and I've DM'd you and I'm like, Justin does not want to be my friend. And now you're like on the podcast. I'm like, I need to get this elephant out of the room. I'm like, can we be friends in real life, please?
Oh my, I've totally changed my phone number. That is so, wait, you live here?
Yeah. I'm in LA right now just doing this. But yeah, I live there. I moved there in end of September. We got there. So
I'm in heaven here. Do you love it?
I need friends, dude. Like, I don't have any friends out there. So I'm like, please, I need my people.
Oh my God, this is so exciting. I know really fun people here, but like once we really bought our house here, we went into pandemic. So we've just been like stuck at home and stuff. But I have like my little core group. I can't wait till you hear you have to come over for dinner.
Yes, please. Oh my God.
I love that you guys are in the South because I'm a Southern girl from Georgia. So I kind of love it.
Well, I've always had this like obsession with the South and I always wanted to live here. And my best friend moved here years ago. So I wanted to get out of LA and this is where we are and I love it. But like you guys, I mean, like, well, I'll go back for work all the time. So I still get my LA dose, but I just hit a wall there.
Are you from?
No way, really?
Are you from California originally? Did you grow up here?
No,
like
in Southern California. So I'm like a total California boy. My whole life I've had like a love for the South because I love Southern people. Mm-hmm. And then when my friend Kristen moved down here, I would come down and I just fell in love with it. I'm like, why don't I make the move? I need to do it, you know?
Yeah. What prompted you to finally take the plunge and just like you hit that wall with LA and you were like, okay, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah. Well, would that be good to talk about on the podcast?
I mean, yeah, we can.
Are we on the podcast right now?
Yeah, I mean, This is it. This is how casual. We have no fucking clue what we're doing. We just started the podcast today.
We're just like, we're going to talk to cool fucking people, hopefully. And they're not basketball players also. and we're just going to talk and then hopefully y'all think it's interesting.
No, I love it. I always don't know because I do a lot of these podcasts during the lockdown I've been doing because I love doing a podcast. I love to talk to people. It's like my way to connect with people. But some people do like this whole intro and they tell me what's going to happen. But I love to just get thrown into it.
We have no idea.
We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to discover it right along with you.
It's going to be really fun.
So what happened with Nashville is I had really just got to a point where like I was just burnt out on LA. And you guys know it like I know it. I mean, you guys are dealt with it in a different way than I did. But my clientele and all that, I was in that industry. And I just hit a point where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be completely fulfilled or if I'm looking for anything more from LA. And the next chapter of my life, I wanted it to be about slowing down a bit and really kind of like hanging out with my close friends. I wanted to have a home that people would come visit and whatever. And so I'm a hair colorist by trade, and I've done hair for many years, but I started my own hair care line about 7 years ago. And now we're in Ulta and Sephora and Nordstrom.
In her hair currently.
Yeah.
I use it. I'm a customer. I use this shit every 3 weeks to cover up my grays. DPQ is the shit. Let's shout it out. It's so good. It's so good.
So having my own hair care line has kind of given me the freedom to live wherever I want. And so I was just like, I really want to be in the South. And I'm one of those people that like, I want to try something. I want to just go for it. We have like one life to live and why not just do it? And so I made the move and we've been so happy. I still, when pandemic stuff is over, I'll go back to LA and do like my favorite celebrity clients for like fun and because I miss them and stuff and for the creative side of it. But I don't need to be there anymore. I'm not in a salon anymore. So it's been great.
And you found the transition to be okay. I mean, I guess it helps when you have a best friend that's already settled and established there and stuff like that. So
yeah. And then Scoot, who's my partner, we've been together for 7 years. Scoot is his nickname. Austin is his real name. I need to call him Austin more. I keep calling him
Scoot is so cute.
I know. Can we call him Scoot?
We love Scoot.
Yeah.
We're definitely calling him Scoot. There is no Austin here. We love you, Scoot.
So he's from the Midwest, from Ohio, and we got together years ago in LA, and he never really loved LA. So I always promised him that we'd get a place outside of LA. He kind of was hoping to, but I couldn't do Ohio. So we picked Nashville to kind of meet in between.
We strongly recommend against Ohio.
I've never been to Ohio.
No. The only person that goes to Ohio is Bill Belichick. He's going on to Cleveland. I think that's in Ohio.
Are you talking about sports now?
No, sorry. I do actually know about
sports. He's a huge sports fan, apparently.
Well, Matt Lanter, who's on our show, is in Nashville, and he's from my hometown, Atlanta, but he actually grew up mostly in Ohio. And he was like, nah, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Well, I have a whole theory that like the most beautiful women in the world come from Georgia since I was a kid. But you know what? I think Georgia girls are beautiful. But when I was a kid,
you're like present company excluded.
No.
Please. This is so fun to meet you, actually, because I've had a massive crush on you forever. I love Sinead.
Oh my God, do you want to see my tits?
The people on the podcast won't be able to see.
Oh my God. I love it. Well, that's so exciting that you're in Nashville. We're gonna get to be friends again. We met so long ago. We've kind of come in and out of each other's life. We met at Ace's house, like just partying and having fun. We're two knuckleheads back, having no idea what's happening in life.
I know.
And then now you have a kid.
I know.
And you live in Tennessee. So this is wonderful. And you're engaged, correct? You guys are engaged currently? Yeah, I am engaged. And I actually got engaged on reality TV, which is I know, I watched. Sorry, you don't need to. I'm like, duh. I watched it all go down. So a few steps back, Kristen Cavallari is my best friend forever. Like we've been best friends for, over 15 years. And when I was moving to Nashville, she was like, would you document that at all on the show? And I was like, yeah, I don't care. Like I'm open for anything, And, but once we moved here, they made it like a real part of her show. And they like kind of followed the whole process. As we were going through the whole show and they were filming it, they said to me like, we know that you're going to propose. Like, do you want to do it on TV? And I swear to God, I was like, no, I will never do that. Because Scoot's really, really private and he gets like nervous. And that is something that's special. Like we've been together forever. So I'm like, I want to save that. Like as glamorous as people think it is, it's super not in real life when you're doing it. You want it to be really just contained, and that is not what that is with a crew all like staring over you. So what changed? Like what made you be comfortable? So what ended up changing is I got to this point, and I'm not going to try and sound like so sweet and like I had like this bigger message, but I kind of did. I thought about this thing when I was a kid. I grew up watching The Real World and I was like obsessed with The Real World. And I really think that that's how I became comfortable with being gay, as I saw these gay characters on TV, and I was like, oh, there's actual gay people out there. I was raised Mormon. So like nobody talked about being gay, but I saw it on reality TV. Well, then when I started thinking about it, I'm like, wait, why am I so afraid to like have a gay proposal? Like we're two men who are totally in love. We're sharing this story about us leaving LA, moving to Nashville. I'm like, why am I going to keep that part from the story? So I talked to the producers. I'm like, here's the thing. If you want me to do some fucking like gay proposal, like flamingos and unicorns and stuff, that's not us. That's but we're like, happening. We're so chill. So we ended up just doing it the way that we do everything on our coffee table, like at home. We made a dinner for each other. And he really had no idea because he thought I would never do this to him. Do it on the show. It just felt right. So I proposed to him. We were like crying. It was sweet. And I don't regret it. Now it's like something that we get to always go back and see. But my message was, if there was any boy who was 15 years old sitting at home with his mom, who's a fan of Kristen Cavallari, watching the show, and he saw two men propose to each other and fall in love, I was like, then that's good. And I have chills. I get chills. I love it. I love that. Yeah. So can we talk? Did he say yes? No, he said no. It's all gone to shit. I just want to make sure, but I'm not going to keep calling him Scoot if he didn't say yes. Fuck him, honestly. Well, I don't know him anymore. I don't talk to him. That was a sweet episode, and then it was all over. Reality TV. But can we talk about the fact that you are an out and proud and in a loving relationship, gay man, living in the South, coming from Southern California? Like, I have felt a lot of weirdness in the air since moving to Tennessee that I'm still trying to wrap my brain around to get comfortable with, because I'm a very, very liberal person and I consider myself an ally of the LGBTQ community. I've always had probably more gay and lesbian friends in my life than straight ones. She was really boring in the last few interviews, and then as soon as you came, I'm like so excited to like talk. We talked to a brain doctor first, so she had her like geek out moment. This is my time to shine. But how have you felt? Because I felt weird, dude. Like, we are living in the Bible Belt, and there's some things that come with that. And it's not to say anything. I'm actually somebody who considers himself to be relatively faithful, and I think there are a lot of faithful people, but there's definitely some people that still, they live and breathe by the literal words written on these pages. And, I'm just going to go grab my Bible. I know. Yeah, right. No, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what my political beliefs are. I mean, I grew up in a super conservative family. Like I was saying, I'm from a Mormon family. So it was like my parents had like a picture of President Bush in our house and like very, very conservative, And I am one of those people that like, I do believe in like listening to other people's views, and I like to have a conversation. Unfortunately, I don't like to talk about this that much, but I think that Donald Trump changed that for a lot of us. All of a sudden it became like you had to pick a side, and I hate that because I still have people who I love who are Republican and they're conservative. But when I moved down here, I don't know, growing up in California, I never saw that much of a divide. I could talk to people who were Republican and it was a conversation, But we happened to move here when everything kind of changed. So when we did move here, it is the first time where all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like gay people are different to people here. I've met really accepting people, and I'm such an open person and I'll talk about things. I'd never be like tiptoeing around the fact that I'm gay. Like, I'm gay and I'm with my partner, you know, like whatever. But it has been eye-opening, you know. It's the first things that we got invited to when we first moved here. People were inviting us to things, and then all of a sudden we realized, like, oh, they're inviting us to Bible study, like they're inviting us to like a church dinner, you know. And so it's like it is churchy, but like I have respect for people who have a faith, but it is a bit different down here, and it's different when you're around a lot of it. But I will say that everyone's been so kind and welcoming to us. But it was the first time, like, I've had conversations with people. I remember the first guy I started lifting weights with, he was a trainer, and we were lifting weights and we were having fun. We were talking or whatever. And he kind of made like a gay joke. And all of a sudden in my head, I was like, oh, he doesn't realize that I'm gay, because we hadn't had that conversation yet. But I'm the kind of person, like, I don't get offended. So I just kind of like start laughing. And then a few sentences later, I say my boyfriend. I could see the look on his face and it changed. And then all of a sudden he kind of said to me, he's like, oh, you have a boyfriend? And then we got into that conversation. And as we got closer, we started talking more. And he did say to me, he's like, to be honest, like, you're one of the first gay guys I've ever talked to. And he's like, you're so cool. And we became really, really close. So for me, I feel like it's one of those things, like, you have to be around different types of people. I can't hate people who have never been around a gay guy before, you know? And I think that it is this cool thing where I don't want to say like gay people or liberals should come into areas to try to infiltrate it, but there's something really cool about coming into an area that's so one way and them getting a dose of people like us and being like, oh, you're not all Mr. Hollywood. You're not, your whole life doesn't revolve around being gay. You're such a normal guy, like someone I would hang out with, and you happen to be gay. And I think more of that is important in places like this.
Yeah, 100%. Well, for one, you're incredibly gracious, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I think growing up in the South and leaving, I grew up in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, like all around the southern states. Left home, or I was homeschooled and left home early when I was 15, moved to New York, and have lived in New York and Los Angeles, like very blue states for the, better 18 years of my life. And when I go back to Georgia, it's like, you guys for real, like, there's Thanksgiving dinner is interesting, especially the last 4 years. But to, I think to your point, there is an element of the people outside of my lovely family, the friends of the family who are like, oh, the Hollywood actress is in town. I'm just at the bonfire, hanging out. We're roasting marshmallows. We do Friday music night at my aunt and uncle's house. It's a thing that we always do. He plays the guitar and sings, and then we have karaoke, and it goes from Jesus music to like Cardi B once it's 2 a.m. and shit gets fucking real. But I really appreciate you, saying that and highlighting that interaction with this guy, because it's how there's so much going on in the world right now. We're talking about these topics, but it's this dynamic of, you don't want to fault someone for a conditioned cycle wheel that they don't even know they can break out of, let alone how to break out of it. At the same time, we do have to educate them and bring them in to this conversation and let them be a part of it. And how do we do that if we don't reach them where they're at? And that's kind of what it seems like you were able to do.
Well, and I always say, because people will always ask me, oh, what was it like coming out of the closet as a gay man? And I was like, I have the most loving parents, and they were so good to me. But I always think about the fact, like, if my parents didn't have a gay son, they probably wouldn't even have an opinion about gay rights, or they probably, just because it's not something they had to deal with.
Right.
And so to me, that makes me take it a step further. Even us moving to Nashville, there's people that I meet who, like my trainer said, he's never met never had a gay friend before. Mm-hmm. And so those people, when you're just living in that bubble, of course, you kind of just go down what you're used to and what you've been taught. And I get afraid that we're all going to start hating each other for these beliefs, where it's like, we're evolving. You need to teach. I'm not going to go into someone's house and be like, who's super conservative, and be like, gay rights, I want to start screaming about it. But I want them to get to know me and maybe start to like me and be like, oh, I like this guy, Justin. He's gay. Like, I love Scoot, his partner. They've been together for close to 8 years now. And like, I want them to have rights. And
Scoot said yes.
So Scoot said yes. But it's kind of that thing. It's like, we have to walk into these situations and get people to understand it a bit. So I do see a lot of that in the South,
Yeah. I've been saying, like, I don't think there's progress without conversation. I feel like every time I converse with somebody with differing beliefs to me, if it's a conversation that's like grounded and rational and calm and not offensive, defensive the whole time, you can see those little baby steps taking place, because all it is just humanizing everybody. Like, I believe in human rights across the board. And the way to hopefully spread that belief more widespread is to just allow people to empathize with other people, because they see other people as the human beings that they are, and that their brother is, and that their mom is, and all the rest of it, And
we were talking earlier, you were saying like real human people with real we were talking about, paparazzi, the tabloids and all this stuff when they go, on their rhetoric and fodder and all that. It's somehow lost on people who are just like biting and eating up all the drama of it. That this is like, these are humans who have to go home to their houses where their children live, and they have siblings and parents, and they go to family dinner, and people have feelings, and they get hurt based on things that you say carelessly on a headline. It's this kind of, if you have an opportunity to bring someone in and actually have that conversation, it's like, oh yeah, they're just like us. They're people too, whatever it is.
Well,
but it's important.
One of the things that was crazy to me, because like I was saying, born and raised in Southern California, but I've never had a connection to celebrities when I was a kid. Went into doing hair, and then I started working with celebrities, and then that celebrity roster started growing. And I think like as far as celebrities go, I've worked with some of the biggest names ever, Jennifer Aniston, Charlize Theron, Gwyneth Paltrow, Margot Robbie, Miley Cyrus, Shanae Grimes. But when I moved down here, the one thing that kind of blew my mind is, and I didn't realize this before, is the way people started talking to me about celebrities. Like they'd ask me questions about celebrities, which most people do. But then when they'd start talking to me, and the rumors that they would kind of ask me, but like, is it true that this happened? I'm like, oh my God, people really believe that stuff? And it is one of those things, like when they say celebrities, they're just like us. Celebrities are just like us, but they have money and they live in a different bubble.
Sure.
But celebrities aren't selling babies out of their basement or eating babies to look young. And like some of these questions that people ask me, I'm like, oh my God. So then that's
so like, you're telling me you don't believe in QAnon?
I mean, this stuff is real. And the way that people talk about, like, I'm like, you do realize that like if Jennifer Aniston or Ellen DeGeneres was eating babies, you don't think that would really get out. You think that's
like, we would all know about it. Find out on the dark web and no one else cares. Like, what?
But that like made me realize, I'm like, wow, it's like that is the total disconnect. And for me, I have liked being down here in the South in a different area. And the South is, Nashville is progressive and people are educated. So I don't want to act like it's not.
No.
Just that
Shanae stopped eating babies when she moved to Nashville.
Gave up her baby to come to Nashville. So those things just trip me out. Like it's wild,
Well, speaking of celebrity stuff, I have to bring up the recent tea, obviously, but I don't want to even focus on the tea because, to be honest, I don't even really understand. There was like so much convoluted tabloidy bullshit that was going on out there. But I did watch one video that you posted on your Instagram, and you were like in your car and you were like, listen, Levies, like I need to level with you right now. Like, this is my beliefs as a person. Like, this is what is right and this is what is wrong. And if someone goes after my best friends and my best friends' kids, like, you better believe I'm going to stand up for them. Wouldn't you? Like, wouldn't you? But people, again, forget that these celebrities and all of the people that are involved in this web are just like human people. They're not stories for your entertainment. These are human people going through real life things that are being hurt and offended and blah, blah, blah. And you speaking up for your best friend of 15 years is not some tabloid story. And you've spent so much of your career behind the chair, making, the celebrities look beautiful and do their thing on the red carpet. And now, because you are so charming and lovely and hilarious, you've really become a celebrity in your own right, though, because you were like so beloved on that show. I watched Very Cop Larry because I was so excited. And when I saw you pop up on there, I was like, oh my God, I love Justin. We would be best friends in real life. And I know him, but I don't like know him because it's been so many years since I've seen you. And now, how does it feel to have that kind of like public scrutiny and be involved in that kind of stuff? Because I know we both struggled with that for a really long time.
Yeah. I mean, that was the hardest thing of this year, was just exactly that. And I was thinking about that just this morning, actually, and Kristen and I were talking about it because it kind of popped back up. But for me, this was a drama that happened between Kristen and I, and then another show on Bravo called Southern Charm. And to anyone who doesn't know about this, you don't have to know the facts about it, but just
you just have to know the names.
Southern Charm. What you're talking about. It's when you're putting like an emotion to it and realizing that real people are dealing with it. So all the drama that happens in that reality TV world, I don't care, you know? And Kristen has taught me for years. She's like, Justin, don't pay attention. Kristen's been a reality star for so many years. And reality stars really get it, right? They just like, people hate on them. They shit on them. They're in the tabloids all the time, whatever. And Kristen would always say, don't pay attention. Well, this one particular thing that happened, this one girl was saying something nasty about Kristen as a mother. And Kristen is the best mother I've ever seen in person. She's so involved, whatever. So I took the liberty as Kristen's best friend to respond to something this girl was starting online. I said, that's not true. And you're spreading a lie and you know it's a lie. Well, that was just between us and it was just an Instagram thing. Well, all those tabloids started picking it up and it became a thing. And then this girl kind of made it her own fight. So then people, when that tabloid world picks it up, everyone started coming to me who I don't get hate on Instagram. There's no real reason to, you know, I feel like people pick on girls, unfortunately, which is so up and it's so backwards, but people love to pick on girls. So I don't get a lot of it, just as Kristen's gay friend. Nobody comes to me with stuff. But when that happened, people started coming being like, you need to keep your mouth shut, stay out of Kristen's drama. Like, because they like the girl drama happening. Two girls hating each other.
For sure.
Like, you keep your mouth shut. And I said, no, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut because what you guys don't realize is this is my real friend that I'm seeing be lied about. And if you're not going to listen to girls defending themselves, I'm going to come in and say, you need to stop this narrative, like whatever. And it is one of those, I got so pissed. And the thing that people don't realize, and anybody listening to this podcast, people love to say things like, oh, you sign up to be a celebrity or you sign up to be on a reality show. But people sign up to have fun and do creative jobs and anyone else would do. Nobody signed up to have shit talked about them, right? And so for me, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, let's put it into anybody's normal mind. Like if you're on Facebook and you have 5 followers on Facebook and one of your followers is Becky and she's your best friend and Carol down the street is saying that Becky's a whore and slept with so-and-so. And you say to Becky on the comments, no, that's not true, Carol. Like Becky never did that. That's the same way that I'm dealing with my best friend, you know?
Exactly.
And the thing that was so crazy to me, I learned a lesson there is sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because I could come out and be like, here's what really happened. Boom, boom, boom. This girl, Madison from the other show is a total liar and is doing this to get drama from all of you guys. People sometimes don't want to hear that. They like to see girls fight. They want to pit these things together.
It's like when you tell them that the election wasn't stolen. It's like they don't want to hear that. You know? They don't want to hear that.
But they love, I think, really like mass media and the public in general. They really love to see like the downfall of a woman, like the demise of a woman, you know? And so to paint Kristen, who I don't know Kristen.
How can you paint her as anything but amazing?
Yeah, like I don't think we've ever met, but she's a fucking boss. She is like blown up this company to kill it. She is clearly so close with her kids and very mindful of their privacy. So like all the more reason, leave the kids out of the equation. She just seems like a really lovely, inspiring person. And to have them come after her and try to pick holes in that. I remember
I have so much respect for the fact that she was like, my kids will not be on. Like that was profound to me because, you know, at a certain point when you have been in this industry for a long time, you get desensitized to the effect it can have. And she's so conscientious that she knew I'm not subjecting my children to this. Mommy's doing this and I will do it. And then she's managing being a mom who is being followed around all day. And like, I think it's incredible.
When we were young and on 90210, you know, the show, when it blew up, there was so much hype and media around it. And I remember feeling like vultures were trying to pick apart the corpse of me that they created in the media that I would say, not everything is a total lie, but say that
I can tell you all the things that are really true.
I would say some is based in truth, but I would say about like 85% was completely pulled out of thin air and just things that really hurt me because they were things I prided myself about in my character, and they were being defamed publicly, and people were choosing to believe that to be true because it was far more entertaining than what was truth, you know, what the reality was. And that is so hard because people they get completely separated from the fact that you're a human being. At the time, I was an 18-year-old girl. Like to do that and put somebody on the roasting fire like that at 18 years old, when you're already fucking dealing with like body issues and boy trouble and all of this shit, you know?
She really was dealing with all of those
lot of
I, however, was on cloud nine.
Oh no, this one was completely perfect.
Absolutely perfect. Saint-like, really.
It's funny that you guys bring that up because I grew up like obsessed with 90210, the original.
She's like, oh wait.
No, listen. I was obsessed with the original. So when you guys came out, I was dying, so excited. I watched all of it. I loved it. I think that I loved it. I was so obsessed with it. But I remember being like, oh, they're really trying to recreate how much the media tried to tear down the original cast with the new one. And I was thinking, oh, this is how they're trying to like drum up excitement for the show. And it worked because your guys' show was totally popular.
Wasn't our show like calling the paparazzi and telling them who the locations
probably.
were?
I'm sure.
That's what one of the paparazzi guys told me.
I'm sure they were.
Yeah, you can tell that from the outside. I was like, oh, they're really trying to get excitement for the show through this way. But it goes back to that thing. It's like, and you guys are dealing with it. I mean, that makes any normal person fucking insane. No one knows how to deal with that. You want to be
especially not when you're 12.
No, I think you're very right. And I love that you said that. It's not fair to say, because you do hear that a lot. Like they signed up for it. They want to be in the public eye. They said, fucking everybody and their mother is on Instagram. Okay. We all signed up for it at this point. We're all putting our shit out there. We're all entertained by each other. So don't hold me to that. Like that, we're all doing it.
That's actually how I think that people are somewhat kind of understanding it now is it's like, that's the biggest load of shit ever. But because actors want to do their craft, they want to create work, whatever. And people can be like, that drives me crazy. People say you signed up for it. No, they didn't. No one signed up for lies and shit to be said about them constantly. And if that's the case, then why don't you let the actor in on it? Why don't you call them and be like, hey, we're going to start this story about you? I don't know. The whole thing is
there's only one person who signed up for that, and that's Kris Jenner. She was all about them lies, honey. She's like, let's do it.
Kris is a boss, though, man. Kris is a fucking genius.
She's the smartest woman that's ever walked the face of the earth.
Literally, and I have so much respect for them. People will always talk to me because I'm in that celebrity world for working.
Sure, yeah.
Like, what do you think of the Kardashians? I'm like, I fucking love their hustle. Like,
brilliant.
They did it, like whatever. But I mean, they dealt with shit. But you know where they're different? You know why they are lucky? They have a family. They're like a little army.
They have a whole nucleus.
Protect each other. Like, we're out, and I know that you're close with your sister. And is she also an actress?
She's in the influencer world, and she does no more branding and stuff now.
But it's like this Kardashian. I mean, they have their own. They all call each other. They can protect each other, whatever. So they figured out how to do it, and they were like brilliant about it. So
they were brilliant from the start. They came on 90210. They had a guest star, and it was so funny because just talk about the way people's, this was before. This was like when Twitter was out and Instagram hadn't even been a thing yet.
Because we're that old.
This is so sad. But I remember when they were coming, everyone's like, oh, the Kardashians are coming. First of all, Kim was the sweetest thing I've ever met in my life.
Chloe is so fucking funny.
Chloe was hilarious. They not only were they were on time, they were early. They came makeup and hair ready. They were polite, kind. Kim was so nice that she was supposed to be mad at Naomi in the show, and she was like, Naomi, she's like, I can't steal from Dash, and the director's like, Stuart's like, you can really, she's your friend, you can get mad at her. She shouldn't have stolen those clothes from you. And she's like, Naomi, like literally the sweetest. I was like, I don't understand what's all the fucking bullshit. Because they were literally, Chloe was hysterical.
They made it work for them, and they're crying all the way to the bank, honey. Like they're good. They're good to go.
I mean, they have to love that hustle. They love it. They live for it. And I think that's great. They found something that really works for them. That it's great. I have no hate towards them. No. But other people who aren't prepared for that and they don't have the family to back them up, like that's got to be hard.
So now you're in Nashville, you're going to obviously go back into LA to do your clients, like you said, and stuff. But can we just talk a little bit about your transition into being an entrepreneur? Because I thought that was just such a cool job. I remember when you did it years ago, because you had a spot on Ventura. Do you still have that spot on Ventura in Studio City? Like the live spot? It was a pop-up thing, right?
We had like a pop-up thing there, but we had another house in Beverly Hills where we had brought all these influencers in. So what all my products do is they take care of hair color in between salon visits. And what we want to do is get it out to to everyone. So we started inviting all these influencers into the Beverly Hills house and just had them shout it out to their channels. And that really is how the brand took off. But years ago, doing hair, I do hair because I love it. I dropped out of college because I wanted to start doing hair. My parents were so pissed that I dropped out of school, what I wanted to do. But I remember doing hair at a young age. I was like, you know what? This isn't going to be able to be sustainable forever. Doing hair, I got to the point where I'm doing 25 heads of hair a day. And it's like, no way can somebody keep that up. And you keep building. And I'll be honest, I like money. I like success. So I wanted something that could go beyond just like my hands. So I wanted to create a line and have my own product line. And so that's where it all kind of came from. And it really has, in the past couple of years, really taken off to where that's obviously like my major money maker. And I don't even charge for hair anymore. When I go back and do all these people, I kind of do it for fun and to be in the game and stuff. And that's always where I wanted to be. I wanted to start off making money off of hair, then make my own product line, and then have hair be fun again and be like my creative outlet. So forever, I want to go back and paint beautiful hair and be in that world. And then the business is the money maker. And it's been really good the past few years. So Women's Wear Daily just recently, named us, or they got all the info from it. We were the fastest growing hair care company this past year.
Woo! Wow.
That was the thing where, in my industry, in the beauty industry, people then look at you like, oh, that fucking dickhead. They did a pandemic. But all of our products take care of people's hair colors at need. So we have so many products that are perfect if you can't get to the salon.
Yeah,
so that's amazing year. It really kind of catapulted us into the next level of selling stuff. And so it's been really good. And, but of course there's like this part of me that's like embarrassed to say that to my peers who are in that same world, but it's like, success is success. We've all got to
celebrate. But also I think it's just you seeing something that was a gap in the market, because there's not a lot of people that do that. I mean, when you think like I grew up, in high school, box dyeing my hair with absolute shit products that you had to then go and spend $600 at the salon to try and strip this stuff off of your head.
I thought that was just my older sister.
No, me too. But, there's a real gap in the market because, and for me, I actually started doing my hair at home just before pandemic life and stuff. Because as a new mom, it was like, I've got grays you're covering up every 3 weeks. That's not like a new highlights every 3 months or something like that. I don't have time to take away from my kid to go to a salon for 3 hours.
I know it's hard to leave my cat, to get my hair done.
Well, that was the crazy thing when I was doing, I was making these little homemade kits years ago when I was in the salon for if a client was going to film a movie and they were going to be gone for 4 months,
just tied them over.
I'd make them these little root touch-up kits. Well, now within my line, the DPQ line, we have root touch-up kits that people can buy and take care of the roots at home. And the pandemic's what really pushed that off of the shelves was that particular product. But I saw a space in the market because there's not a lot of products that are specifically to take care of your color needs. And there's so many things, your color fades. So we have a whole line of glosses that you can use at home. Stuff that controls the warmth in your hair when you're bright.
Where are we getting this during the pandemic? Were they ordering it online, or you're just ordering it online?
DPQ.com.
DPQ.com.
And that's what really took off to the pandemic, which is what you want when you own your own business. You want them to buy directly from you. Right. But then we were in 1,200 Ulta beauty stores, but Ulta's all closed. But then we're at ultabeauty.com, Sephora.com, Nordstrom's.com. So we were in all the big place. The big boys. Right. So DPQ.com really took off, which is what you want. But the thing for anybody out there listening who thinks about being an entrepreneur, or if you have an idea, if you see a space in any sort of market or something that you yourself would want, it's that's how things take off. I don't know. I didn't want to have just another hairspray or the Justin Anderson
No, you
shampoo.
found.
So all of my products are very specific for different needs.
You found a niche. You found something that was a need, and that's really important. But I think there's also something we were talking on one of our interviews earlier about how Shanae and I are all about manifesting. And I think people, I think people misunderstand it though. They don't fully get the law of attraction concept. And since I learned about it yesterday, I'm going to give you my expertise advice. No, but there's this entire time being here with you, other than just staring at how gorgeous you are and ridiculous your hair is and amazing your tattoos and your big biceps and all those things. There's also the fact that you have this incredible energy.
And what people sometimes think about manifesting is that you just think about what you want. You think about it nonstop and you say, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. But then you get in traffic and you curse everybody out and you're an aggro motherfucker. The universe is like, no, bitch, you get more of what you give. But the universe's language is not, the universe's language is not English, bitches. It's fucking energy. Okay? And so you have this really beautiful, powerful magnetic energy, and it's magnetic, meaning that you pull things towards you. So in this time that you've had this incredible elevation, you've also, who you've been, the magnetic person I'm sure you've been through this period of building this company, was telling the universe, hi, I'm Justin over here, not the basketball player, the one that does hair, and I got a cool idea and also help. And I think that that's something, something to be said for, is that when you set your intention of what you want to achieve, but then you go out in the world and you treat people well. You let someone make a gay joke and you're understanding and you're gracious and you're beautiful about it, and you have a conversation and you connect with them, and you don't go home and talk shit and create a negative energy field about it. You just keep living your life, and then you get blessed as a result of it. And that, to me, that's what law of attraction is. That it's
totally agree.
Speaking that language.
She says as she holds a crystal in her hand.
I do have
our listeners who can't see you on camera right now.
Stone in my hand, and it is a fun little thing to circle around. Just, I'm a little witchy. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I think the thing with manifesting is exactly what you said. I totally agree with you. I don't think enough people talk about it that way. But not only do you manifest what you want, but like it's also work. You got to go and hit it every single day. And like you said, I'll get a lot of people who say things to me like, wow, you've worked with all these massive celebrities before. And of course, like I know I'm good at doing hair and stuff, but it's like what you said, like I've always treated people with respect. All of my clients, even when I'm doing the biggest names in Hollywood, I'm going to treat any of my clients the same way I would treat any of them. I show up on time to everything. I'm respectful of people's time, their privacy. I've never told people secrets, all those kind of things. And I think there's so much that goes into it. And I think that what's also weird is we live in this age now where we're all seeing everyone on social media, and we see people's successes in these quick little pictures and stuff. And we don't realize all the work that goes into it, and anybody who has a ton of success, it comes from a lot of work. It comes from showing up. It comes from doing that every single day. And I don't think enough people talk about that.
No, they don't talk about the struggle. They're living their best life. It's like, I one of the things that I want us to do on this podcast is talk to people about the struggle side, unzip, let it all hang out. In what ways do you not practice what you preach? I know, I've been out here fighting for women's rights, and I'm an advocate for all these women's issues. And then I'm shitty in relationships with guys, and I don't know how to stand up for myself. I'm like, what kind of fucking hypocrisy is this shit? But it's human, right? We're what we relate to is not the Instagram filter that makes you flawless. It's the girl who posts the hashtag no filter. Also, I have acne scars. I'm her. I have those. But I'm learning that my vulnerabilities make me relatable. And that's, Shanae and I the real juice that they totally missed in the tabloids was that we hated each other for 5 years. And then I end up at her wedding in England, and we're on a podcast now. And it's because when we finally actually connected through our humanness, it was oh wow. Yeah. You can fuck up and do all these shit. But if you're a real person and you connect on a real level, it's not because you're all glammed up, and we love a glam, but that's not where you meet your best friend. You meet your best friend while you're puking in the bathroom at the dive bar. You know what I mean? That bitch is holding your fucking hair, and you got a lot of weave in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you talk about, one of my favorite, I love women. I love women's energy. So it was no question that I went into hair, and I love sitting in the chair and really getting deep with women. And I love talking about relationships. And I think that the biggest thing in relationship, this woman, Brene Brown, I'm sure you guys have heard of her. And I feel like Brene Brown years ago really put being vulnerable on the map, and people kind of hear oh, vulnerable, that sounds good or whatever. But it's no, really listen to it, because I think being vulnerable is the most important thing in life, in any situation. It's when you're setting boundaries for yourself, it's being vulnerable enough to say, I can't handle that. Or what, I don't know what it is, but I have anxiety right now. I can't show up to dinner tonight. And saying those words rather than making excuses or just blowing people off. but in every facet of life. And I just know for myself, when I sit with these clients, you know, there's a reason why these big name people keep coming back to me. And I believe it's because I listen to them. I treat them with respect. It's this one-on-one thing. I never acted like a diva, like, oh, I do Jennifer Aniston's hair, so that celebrity is not big enough. No, I treated everyone the same. But when you get in the chair with those people, vulnerability is everything. And I can't believe that you talk about, you know, you have relationship issues, but that's your thing and you're being vulnerable saying that. But I would love to sit down with you and just like, I love talking about relationship stuff because.
Oh my gosh. So what's your cell? I mean, you can tell me later. Just text me.
I would love it. It's my favorite conversation ever. But
we'll have a Zoom happy hour.
Yeah. One of the things that changed for me is being vulnerable. Yes, we love it. Brene Brown, amazing. But also love languages change everything. If you know your love language and you fucking own it and you realize what kind of person your love language would work well with, and you go out there and kind of create that, but you have to keep practicing it every single day. And there's going to be times where things come up and you can't, you know, like for me and Scoot, it's like our love language is so perfect together. And there's little things every once in a while where my old behavior will pop itself out. And I talk to myself, I'm like, Justin, no, that's fucking bullshit. You know, Scoot's so patient and he's slow and he's really methodically likes to talk on the phone. And sometimes I'll get in my head, I'm like, I wish he would just, and I'm like, no, but you would hate it if he did. You know, if all of a sudden I wanted, you know, like, I don't know. It's just like, so read the love languages, be vulnerable, be present.
It's the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. It's incredible. Mine's 12 out of 12 physical touch, like hugs all day long, If you don't hug me, you can go fuck yourself.
I am the biggest like toucher, hugger in the world. I would cuddle with a stranger. Like my mom. Yeah, my mom.
It's really dangerous.
Especially nowadays. But my mom's story from when I was a kid is she's like, both my parents were surfers. So they would take us to the beach, they'd be out surfing, and they said they'd come back in. I'd always have a new stranger that I was just like hugging on the beach. So I love that kind of stuff. But a lot of people aren't comfortable with physical touch.
Yeah.
I don't know how to ask for favors. So for me, it's acts of service. Like when people can just do things for me, you know, without me even asking, it melts my heart. And that's what my partner does now. And I didn't realize it till later in my life that that's what I needed, because I don't know how to ask for help. When someone does a favor for me, I feel really bad. I say, oh, no, I'll help you with that. I'll do it. Don't worry about it.
Right.
When it's really all that I wanted, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's so, I love that you discovered that. That's one of the things I think that really changed the dynamic. I started to see Shanae just, you know, she was dealing with so much. We were dealing with so much on that show and with the tabloids and all the things. And we were so young and everything that was thrown at us. Yeah. And there was a lot of just, you know, not good vibrational frequencies for the universe. So not happy attraction. But she accidentally found this fucking really hot guy. This is like the only guy that she's ever dated that's hot. The rest of you are ratchet and you know it and don't even pretend like you're not. So
I have the worst.
They were the ugliest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what in the hell was going on. I was like, does she not know she's cute? Because she's like a star of a show. Like, you can do better than this. Okay? She was like, you know, it was a whole vibe. That was like before that was even a phrase. It was a whole vibe. Then she meets this fucking god of a man who's like tall and like tattooed and blue-eyed British guy. That was nice to look at. But what mattered was he started hugging this little bitch. He started squeezing her and touching her.
And like my love language definitely is not touch.
Like, don't touch me. She's like melting. She started melting.
What are the 5? I haven't read this book. What are the 5?
So it's physical touch,
acts of service,
quality time.
No.
She's like not into that.
No.
Acts of service, receiving gifts.
And
she's like, I have no love language. There is no.
I think acts of service, because I'm like you, like I don't like people. I don't like feeling like I owe anybody anything. I've been on my own forever. I moved out of the house at 18, moved countries at 18 to go and do this job.
Is from your parents. That's what it came from for me. Like I grew up with an alcoholic dad. So for me, it's all about that. I always felt like I had to do things for my parents, or like I had to perform to make them like me.
Yes. I have like abandonment issues with my dad that started at a young age. So I've always felt like I needed to, you know, just earn that and do my own thing. Cause I watched my mom be left to struggle. So I was like, I'm never going to be in that situation. I always just need to like be able to take care of myself and do it my way. And I'm never, you know, as soon as I was 18, never took another penny out of my mom's pocket. That was it. Like I just, you know, so I think that was it. And my husband's the kind of guy who like, that's what he does. I mean, you know, like he's just the most generous. Yeah, he's just the most generous, giving, loving person. His purpose in life and his passion in life is like making people happy and making everyone else's life easier. And he's the kind of guy who shows up on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. out of the blue with like a dozen roses for no reason. And I'm not even a flower person, but it's just like the nicest gesture. Like he's just that guy, you know? And I think it's those little moments that soften me.
100% your acts of service then, because that's a lot like my partner. And I actually met your husband, his beach. Josh. I met him and he's just an angel, the sweetest guy ever. And I remember when you came into the salon at Chris McMillan's salon and I think I bleached his hair.
You did. Yeah. You bleached his hair. Yeah.
So that was you.
I was like, he does my
I love that book on him. It's good.
But everyone was like, it's like, oh, Shanae Grimes is here. All excitement because everyone loves a celebrity. But then there were all these people in the salon was like, but Josh Beach, he's like this insane model. And I remember his name being on the books and everyone was kind of getting excited. It was this amazing model. But then he was just the kindest, sweetest guy. And the way he was talked about you and the way he treated you, like it's beautiful. And it's like you found that and that's what ended up working for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that we think at a young age, like, oh, I want a guy with money and I want a guy who's really hot. And like I see these girls in LA who are like, oh, I'm going to date like the guy who owns the bar or like has like the nice sports car. And it's just like, and you get stuck in that rut and you keep making the same mistakes over and over. And then someone will throw a really good guy at you, like, oh, they're too sweet, like whatever. Or maybe secretly you don't think you deserve someone that sweet.
Right.
So like all these things, it's like fucking be vulnerable and read the book love languages.
Right. You're like, I recommend. Well, so I'm curious because I'm a prior and it's just what I do. I'm not even going to apologize for it because I like to do it. So you said you grew up with an alcoholic father. For me, my obsession is now it's brain health, not mental health, brain health for children. I mean, the effects of early childhood trauma and so many of us, we don't realize that trauma comes in all forms. It's parents who have so much money and they're throwing it at their kids and they're never there and they're not attuned and connected with their children. Or it's having, an alcoholic parent or having abuse in the home or just having demeaning words and like putting you down or those things. So I'm just curious in your journey and to be the wonderful human that we're experiencing here today. And obviously with all you've created, it speaks for itself, the type of person that you are. What has that journey been like coming from growing up in a space that well intentions or not isn't easy for a kid? It's not the easiest road for a kid.
Well, the thing that was the hardest about having an alcoholic dad for me is my dad was at times the most amazing present father ever. I get all of my like kindness and sensitivity from my dad. My dad was this big burly guy. He was incredibly good looking. I remember when we were a kid, like everyone would talk about how handsome my dad was and stuff. And he had this really big presence. And when he was amazing, he was amazing. But then when he would get into the alcohol, because he went in and out of rehab my whole life, when he was into the alcohol, it would be this up and down. So I realized that that's where a lot of my anxiety came from because I would get uncomfortable. Like if I'm in a place and someone starts screaming really loud, like even though I know I can take care of myself and I'm not afraid of people, it's that uncertainty, So I always kind of had this anxiety. Well, what it also did is because it was always about my dad's addiction growing up and we were always kind of like, what mood is he going to be in? Like, how are things going to be? It was never about me. So as I got older, I realized I didn't know how to set up boundaries for myself. I thought it was okay to have friends like fuck you over all the time or get in weird fights. I was the friend who was always calming friends down and like they would do things that were insane, but I'd call them and be like, I'm sorry, let's talk this through. Like you were hurting. So it was always a
caretaker mentality. Yeah.
And it wasn't until, before I was with Scoot, I was in another long relationship for 7 years with a guy who was a lot older and we had the most fucked up relationship ever. And after we broke up, I started going to therapy and taking it seriously. And I started learning all these things. I'm an empath, I take on other people's things rather than being like, hey, that's you and I'm here for you. But that has nothing to do with me. You also have to take care of me and we have to take care of each other. Mm-hmm. So those were things. And had I not gone to therapy and really taken that in, it would have been an issue. And people would say to me like, Justin, you have issues from your dad being an alcoholic, or people say daddy issues and daddy issues are fucked up. When people say that, it's like a trigger for all of us. I don't know. Issues, like whatever.
Yeah.
But I did have issues from
I definitely have daddy issues.
Which is hot. I mean, when you have daddy issues, you're a better lover. I
That's true. However, unfortunately.
Tick, tick. Yeah.
So it wasn't until I really dealt with those issues till I really realized it. And now I can call them out in a second. When I'm starting to feel these weird feelings that I felt years ago, I'm like, oh, that's those old fucking issues coming up and you got to cut it out. You know what I mean? So I think I really am the person I am today because of my dad being an alcoholic. And people, when they ask me like, how hard was it? Yeah, it was hard. There were times, but like, I really am the person who I am because of that. Like, I'm sensitive. I'm a really good listener. You know, I'm also a hard worker. I was always afraid when I was a kid, like, what if dad goes away and we have no money? So I knew from a young age, make my own money. I want to be successful. So I am who I am because of my dad. Sometimes I look at people who had like perfect childhoods and I'm like, that fucking sucks.
You're so boring.
Because you don't even know. Like, you don't even know.
You don't know what's up.
And also, like these kids who like their parents were so good to them that the world revolved around them, they can't even survive in the real world, you know?
No.
And for me, it's like, I always like, I'm grateful for my shortcomings growing up because it made me who I am today, you know? And it's like, you can do two things though. I could have walked around and cried the whole time and be like, oh, my dad was an alcoholic and it was so hard for me. Or you can own it. Like, this is a fucking thing I learned. You know,
I lived through this and I survived.
I always say, like, you know, everyone's talking about gratitude lists and everything with the whole pandemic thing that's been going on. You wake up every morning and do your gratitude list. But finding gratitude for the challenges and the hardships in life has been like such a game. You know, when I'm feeling
that's alchemy.
I wake up really down or something's going on. I'm really anxious about this. I didn't get that job or whatever, like things that would send me into a darker place. And I'm like, to be able in that dark moment to find gratitude for that dark moment because of the strength and resilience and whatever other lessons it's going to bring your way, I think just changes the way that you can walk.
That has got to be the secret from like this whole pandemic that we learned, because I love doing shit like that. When I'm feeling down, especially in this time, I'm like, but what is this trying to teach me? Or what good is going to come from this? And it's like, it's so rad that we have the power of that in our own head.
In our own head. And I love Brene Brown. She's like, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful right now. That's my version of like, I know this is making my brain better. I know this keeps my energy high. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Oh, we're so grateful for you.
We are.
Thank
you so much for chatting with us.
We do this every Monday. I mean,
we need to do something fun for sure. And you need to come visit Sinead in Nashville, and we're all going to hang out.
Yeah, she's coming to me next time because I came to her this time. But will you maybe open my DM and respond to me so that we can actually hang out?
Yes, I will 100%. And I went on today because I was like, how have I not been seeing shit? And I follow you from my hair color page, which is like my Instagram for all hair color. Okay. But on my personal one, you weren't on there. So just today I went on and found you on my personal one, and I found Anna Lynn, and I followed. So yes, we are connected. And I'm not just saying this, Anna Lynn, when you come to Nashville, we have fucking 7 bedrooms here, and we set them all up for guests. So you could absolutely stay with us. We won't even bother you. We'll treat you.
Because she was going to put me in the attic.
No, I have the guy's bedroom, but she'll take your house over mine because there will be a crying toddler down the hall from her in my house.
We set our place up to have guests. Like, we wanted everyone to have like space for like Chelsea Handler's come and stayed with us. Like, anyone who comes to town will come and stay with us. So I'm not just saying this. I'm not that person that says things I don't mean, but you could totally come stay with us.
I am the person who will take you up on this. So thank you.
I love it. You guys are adorable. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Lots of love.
So bye, baby.
Sending you a big hug.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. You can catch a new episode of Unzipped every Wednesday.
Please do not forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of the action. And remember, we want to hear from you, so please leave a rating and review.
A good rating and good review.
Thank you. Yeah.
Follow us on social for all the behind-the-scenes action and more information. I'm at the Anna Lynn McCord.
And I'm at Sinead Grimes Beach. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye, bitches. Thanks for tuning in and unzipping with us.
We hope it was as good for you as it was for us.
That's what they said. New episodes of Unzipped come out every Wednesday wherever you listen to podcasts.
And if you miss us in the meantime, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Anna Lynn McCord and at Sinead Grimes Beach so we can hang out between episodes.